Los Angeles, the city of dreams, was the destination of my next modeling gig. Excitement pulsed through my veins as I stepped off the plane, ready to embark on a glamorous adventure. My Airbnb rental awaited me, a beautiful luxury apartment in the heart of the city, or so I thought. The moment I entered the apartment, a strange feeling washed over me. It was as if unseen eyes were watching my every move. I tried to shake off the unease, attributing it to my own paranoia. After all, I was alone in a big city, far away from the familiar comfort of home in Ohio. Despite the strange feeling I had, I must say the apartment was beautiful and offered a lot of natural light. It was still daytime, and the sun was bright. I began to unpack my belongings. The sense of vulnerability lingered, but I dismissed it as exhaustion from my journey. Little did I know, the truth was far more disturbing. Late that evening, as I prepared for a relaxing bath, I noticed a small, inconspicuous object nestled amongst the toiletries on the bathroom shelf. Curiosity piqued, I reached for it, my heart pounding with a mix of apprehension and curiosity. It was a hidden camera, a watchful eye capturing my every move. Panic seized me as the realization of the invasion of my privacy sank in. How long had this camera been recording me? Who had placed it here? Fear and anger coursed through my veins, fueling my determination to unravel this sinister mystery. Taking a deep breath, I decided to confront the situation head-on. I unplugged the camera and secured it safely in my bag. With a newfound sense of vigilance, I began searching the apartment for other hidden devices. Every nook and cranny became a potential hiding spot, heightening my paranoia. Minutes turned into hours as I meticulously combed through every room. But apart from the initial discovery, no further cameras were found. A glimmer of relief washed over me, yet questions still lingered. Who had planted the camera? Was it the apartment owner or someone else entirely? Determined to find answers, I contacted the Airbnb support team, sharing the unsettling discovery. They assured me that they would investigate the matter immediately and advised me to seek temporary accommodation elsewhere for my safety. I hastily packed my bags, leaving the disturbing apartment behind. In the following days, the authorities conducted a thorough investigation into the incident. Meanwhile, my modeling gig continued, but the shadow of the hidden camera haunted my every move. I couldn't help but feel violated, constantly looking over my shoulder. Finally, the truth came to light. It turned out that the camera had been planted by a previous guest who had gained unauthorized access to the apartment. The perpetrator had no connection to the owner, making the discovery even more chilling. Their motive remained unknown, leaving me to grapple with the lingering feeling of violation. Though scarred by the incident, I refused to let fear consume me. I became an advocate for awareness and privacy, sharing my story and encouraging others to stay vigilant. In time, I healed, realizing that my strength lay in refusing to let such an invasive act define me. As the days turned into months, the memories of that fateful Airbnb experience slowly faded. I continued my modeling career, each step a testament to my resilience. The hidden camera served as a reminder of the dark side that can lurk in unexpected places. But through it all, I vowed to hold on to my dreams, refusing to let fear hinder my journey towards success.
I never expected our weekend getaway to take such an eerie turn. It all began when my group of friends, consisting of Sarah, Mark, Alex, and me, decided to book an Airbnb rental for a much-needed escape from the hustle and bustle of city life. Little did we know that our vacation would unravel into a spine-chilling mystery. The Airbnb listing showed a charming cottage located in a quiet town. The surroundings appeared beautiful and looked like a serene place to visit. We were eager to start the weekend. As we pulled up to the property, we were all filled with excitement. The cottage appeared enchanting, complete with a white picket fence and blooming flowers. We entered the cozy cottage, and we thought the place was beautifully decorated. The old wooden floors creaked beneath our feet as we explored the rooms, each uniquely decorated with vintage furniture. It reminded me a lot of my grandma's house in Cape Cod. We eagerly claimed our sleeping quarters and settled in, ready to enjoy a memorable weekend. Our first evening was spent cooking and enjoying homemade meals and engaging in lively conversations. We had many laughs as we reminisced about old times and shared plans for the future. As the clock struck midnight, exhaustion took over, and we were all ready for bed, and so off we went to our respective rooms. The next morning, a peculiar sound awakened me. It was a faint scratching noise coming from the closet in the room I slept in. Perplexed, I decided to investigate. I opened the narrow door leading to the closet, the sound growing louder with each step. As I pushed open the closet door, an icy draft swept through the room, raising goosebumps on my skin. The sight that met my eyes was both bewildering and alarming. There, huddled in the corner, was a disheveled figure. A squatter clearly caught off guard by my unexpected presence. I was gripped with fear, but curiosity overpowered it. I cautiously approached the stranger, my voice trembling as I asked who they were and how they ended up here. The squatter, a gaunt middle-aged man, apologized profusely, expressing his desperation and promising that he meant no harm. I backed away from the man, who introduced himself as Daniel, and called the others, who ran to the room. Everyone looked confused, and Mark and Alex began yelling at him to get out immediately. Sarah and me felt bad and told them to calm down. Daniel gathered his belongings in a small plastic bag and scurried out of the room past Mark, who was holding the pocket knife he practically slept with. Mark and Alex followed behind the man until he disappeared into the woods. Sarah and I stayed back and questioned how long the man had been hiding in the closet and how he got in. We checked all the doors and windows to make sure they were secure, except for the window in the bathroom. We concluded that the bathroom window must have been the point of entry for Daniel. We didn't stick around any longer. We emailed the Airbnb host, who didn't believe what we told her, as we didn't have any proof. We packed our belongings and headed home early and wrote a negative review. Now when we arrive at our Airbnb rentals, my friend and I make it a practice to check the unit when we first arrive to avoid this from happening again. Although nothing dangerous happened, the story could have gone a very different way. Thank you for listening. Stay spooked.
After my divorce, my husband decided to leave me with our marital home, as he was moving to Australia to live with his mistress. There was a substantial mortgage left on the property, and at the time I made the decision to remain in the home, I was doing very well for myself and had received a big promotion at work. Confident I could afford to keep paying the bills, I remained in our 4-bedroom, 4-bathroom home. In addition to the main level, the home had a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom apartment in the basement. After about a year of living in my home and being able to afford the bills, a series of unfortunate events occurred, including the loss of my job, which paid me well over $200,000 a year. Hoping to earn some extra money to help with the mortgage and pay off some credit card debt, I decided to list my basement apartment on Airbnb. After 3 months of consistent rental income, I realized I could make a substantial amount of money. I decided to move to the basement and instead rent the main level of my own to collect a larger sum. Things went relatively well renting my home on the site. Most of my guests were lovely people who left my place in great shape. I met people from all over the world and even made some great friends that I am still very close with. One day, a man who seemed relatively normal inquired about my property. Before booking, he had a few questions which I answered. His questions were pretty standard, but one question stood out to me. He asked if he could pay in cash instead of through the website. I told him that would not be possible and that we would need to do everything through the site. That is when he offered to pay me double my asking price. I'll admit, I entertained the thought for a bit but insisted that we go through the website. I get it, wanting to pay with cash is not that creepy, but offering to pay double the asking price was very strange. Within a few hours, the man booked a 5-night stay in my home and would be arriving the following day with a female companion. I sent him the code to enter the home and a list of instructions that I sent to all my guests. He acknowledged everything and thanked me. It wasn't usual for me to greet my guest at check-in, but when the couple arrived, I happened to be pulling into the driveway from a quick run to the grocery store. I introduced myself as the host and property owner, and the couple introduced themselves as husband and wife, who we will call Dana and Todd. Dana and Todd seemed like a normal couple. He was a bit more talkative than her. She seemed a bit timid and didn't make much eye contact, but it was not my place to judge. After a very brief introduction, I excused myself and let the couple know that I would be right downstairs if they needed me, and showed them to the entrance on the side of the home. Things were normal in the few hours following their arrival. The couple took a dip in the pool before calling it a night. At about 10 o'clock that evening, I sat down to watch a movie and was startled by a loud male voice. I muted my TV, and that's when I heard Todd yelling at Dana, whose voice I couldn't hear. I unmuted my TV and continued watching the movie when suddenly I heard a gut-hurling scream coming from upstairs. I knew something had to be terribly wrong, so I muted my TV once more and listened, but heard nothing. I didn't bother to investigate further. I naively thought it was more important to give my guests their privacy. Looking back, I was probably a bit selfish because I wanted them to leave me a good review on the app, and I wanted to keep my superhost status. For the next 3 days, I noticed that Todd would be in pool alone. He would leave the house alone and return alone. It was like Dana disappeared or something, and it made me feel uncomfortable. Still, not wanting to be the meddling host, I minded my business and stayed downstairs. One day while Todd had left the home, I decided to go down my long driveway to retrieve the mail. On my way back up the driveway, I could see legs trying to kick the window in one of the upstairs bedrooms. I was startled. I ran up the driveway quickly and opened the door to my home. I ran upstairs to the bedroom, and laying on the floor was Dana with blood coming from her face. She had been tied up with zip ties and had a gag in her mouth. I removed the gag from her mouth, and she said in a very soft voice, "Please call the police." I reached in my back pocket for my cell phone and called the police, who arrived within minutes. Before their arrival, Dana was able to tell me that Todd was not her husband but a man who she had gone on a date with a week prior. He had been holding her hostage until her real husband gathered enough money to pay her ransom. I couldn't believe this was happening. This was the type of stuff I only saw on TV. When the police arrived, I told them what Dana had told me, and they of course got a statement from her. I was able to move my focus from Dana and to my house, which I noticed for the first time had been badly damaged. Not to mention, I had found drug paraphernalia, drugs, and other unidentifiable substances strewn across the home. My own home had been completely ransacked with valuable items stolen, expensive rugs used as ashtrays, and the only towels left behind were blood-soaked. There was more than $10,000 worth of damage done to the home in only a matter of days. It all made sense why Todd wanted to pay in cash. he didn't want to have a paper trail. At first, I didn't understand why he wanted to stay in a place that had an on-site host, but it made sense because my home was very close to a major highway. I'm no detective, but that's what I think. Todd was apprehended a few miles away from the house on his way back. 3 months later, and I still can't believe this happened to me. Usually bad things happen to Airbnb guests, but hosts can also be victims too. I still rent on Airbnb, but I have decided to now furnish the home with inexpensive items. Thank you for listening. Stay spooked.